I have just a swatch of gray yarn made up in single crochets, and then I switched my yarn color to yellow. The only reason I switched my yarn color was so that you can see the stitches a little bit better and see how the spike stitch creates a dip in your stitches, and maybe a little bit of a thicker fabric as well. Oftentimes patterns call for a color change just to show off the definition of the stitch, and other times it's used in the same color and it's just used for a reinforcement or a thicker layer. A traditional spike stitch is basically a single crochet. So I'm assuming that you know how to work a single crochet, but I'm going to go ahead and work one just to make sure. So for a single crochet, you're just going to go into the next stitch. So you're going to insert your hook, you're going to pull up a loop, you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook, and that is a single crochet. For a spike stitch, you're basically going to do the same thing, but instead of working in the next stitch, which is right here, you're going to go down 1 row, oops, and work it into the space right below. So instead of inserting your hook here, you're going to go directly down 1 row, insert your hook, pull up a loop to the same height as your single crochet row, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on your hook. So in the next stitch, if I work a traditional single crochet and then look, you can see the difference in the spike stitch. Basically, the spike stitch will go down a row and have a little bit more definition in it. So again, this is a traditional single crochet, a traditional spike stitch single crochet, and a regular single crochet. So then to work a spike stitch in the next stitch, you're going to go over and then you're going to go down 1 row and insert your hook, pull up a loop, and when you pull the loop up, you do need to make sure you pull it a little bit higher than a traditional single crochet so it's the same height as your current row of stitches. And there's your spike stitch. A lot of times when you're working spike stitches, it will alternate between a traditional single crochet and then a spike stitch to give you this alternating look. So we'll do a traditional single crochet and then a spike stitch. And again, you're going to go into the next stitch and then go down 1 row to create that dip. So if I continue across the row, we're going to go regular single crochet and then again a spike stitch. So next stitch and then go down 1 row, traditional single crochet, and then a spike stitch in the next one. So there's the next stitch, go down 1 row, traditional single crochet, and then a spike stitch. So there's that one, and then you're going to go down another row. And then we'll do a single crochet, spike stitch, go down 1 row, and then a single crochet in the last stitch of the row. And that is what your row is going to look like. Okay, so I went ahead and crocheted a few more rows of single crochets so you could kind of see the stitches a little bit better. But as you can see, that spike stitch really stands out, and you can see it dropping down and it creates a spike, which is why it's called a spike stitch. Again, a spike stitch, if a pattern does not designate what it is, you will work it as a single crochet as I've shown down in these rows right here. Once again, I switched yarn colors so that you can kind of see the differences in where I'm placing my stitches. So I'm going to review again. A regular spike stitch is going to be worked as a single crochet in 1 row below. So to work that spike stitch, you come into the stitch here, you go down 1 row below to that direct space below it and work a single crochet to create that spike stitch. Sometimes a pattern will designate, instead of working 1 row below, it might say work 2 rows below. And to do that, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go into the next stitch, but instead of going into the current row or 1 row below, you're going to go down to the 2nd row below. So again, here is your current row. This is your traditional 1 row below. and then you'll go down one more space, insert your hook, pull up a loop. Again, pull that loop up to the same height as your stitches in that row and complete your single crochet. And then we'll do a traditional single crochet in the next stitch. So there's your next stitch, or I'm sorry, we're gonna do a spike stitch. So there's your next stitch. You're gonna go one below, work your spike stitch, and then we're gonna do a traditional single crochet. And now you can see the different levels of your spike stitch. So this is your traditional one row below, and this one is 2 rows below. And patterns can vary whether you're going 1 row or 2 rows below. So again, we'll do a traditional single crochet, a traditional spike stitch in the next stitch. So there's your current row, second row, or first row down, or 1 row down, sorry. Now we're going to do 2 rows down. So traditional, regular spike stitch, and then 2 rows down. And now let's go a little bit crazy and go 3 rows down. So here's your current row, 1 row prior, 2 rows down, and 3 rows down. Insert your hook. Again, make sure you pull that up to the same height as all your other stitches and complete that single crochet. Now here's your next stitch. Let's go 2 rows down. There's 1 row below, 2 rows below. And then a traditional spike stitch is just 1 row below. So there's your next row, 1 row below. And now let's work a traditional single crochet to the end of the row. So as you can see, spike stitches can be used to create a decorative look to a crochet piece. So as you can see, in this first little section, I did a traditional spike stitch 1 row below, and then 2 rows below, and then 1 row below, creating a small little dip in your crochet. Over here, I did a traditional single crochet, traditional spike, a 2 row prior spike, and a 3 row prior spike, and then worked our way back up for a little bit more of a distinguished look. Okay, so we've done traditional spike stitches, and we've done spike stitches going into different rows below to create a different effect. And now I wanted to show you that although a traditional spike stitch is worked as a single crochet, there are some times where you might run into a situation where you're working a row of a different stitch and it will call for a spike stitch. Typically, the designer should have specified whether you continue to work it in the current stitch of that row or if you're going to go back to a single crochet. So if I'm working a row of half double crochets up here, and again I switched my yarn color just so you can see the differences here. So a half double crochet is a little bit taller than a single crochet, but if I'm working a row of half double crochets and it calls for a half double crochet spike stitch, you're going to work it just like you do your single crochet spike by going down 1 row below. However, you're going to continue to work the half double crochet. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you. So you're going to work the half double crochet. So yarn over for your half double crochet, but then instead of going into the traditional location, you're going to drop down as if you're doing a spike stitch. So insert your hook, pull up that yarn, and again, you're going to want to make sure you pull that up a little bit higher, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So as you can see, I worked a half double crochet, but it was dropped down a row as if it was a spike stitch. So then we're going to go and do a half double crochet in the next stitch, and then we'll do a half double crochet spike stitch again. So yarn over, and instead of going into the traditional location, you're going to drop down an extra row, pull up a loop, and complete your half double crochet, and then a traditional half double crochet in the current row. And again, you can just see that you're going to get these alternating spikes just like we did down here. You can do this with double crochets, treble crochets, any stitch that you're working really. You can also, it may tell you to drop down into these non-traditional spike stitch locations. So over here, let's go ahead and do a regular regular half double crochet, and then let's drop down 1 row below as a traditional spike stitch. So yarn over as a half double crochet, regular spike stitch location, 1 row below. And then the next one, we're going to go ahead and drop down 2 rows below. So yarn over, here's your current row, 1 row below, 2 rows below. So let's go ahead and pull that up. And then we're going to half double crochet in the next stitch. And then let's try and repeat that. So regular spike stitch with a half double crochet, yarn over, drop down 1 row below, complete your half double crochet. Now let's do 2 rows below for a spike stitch. Yarn over for your half double crochet. Here's your current row. This is dropping down 1 row and dropping down 2 rows. And pull that stitch up. And then let's work regular half double crochets to finish the row off. And then we'll come back and look and see what our work looks like. Okay, so hopefully this helps clarify the location that you work a spike stitch. And I showed a couple of different examples, like down here is a traditional single crochet spike stitch. And again, if a pattern does not designate what stitch you're going to work a spike stitch in, it will be a single crochet, as we did down here. And we also did in this row where we alternated where we actually placed that spike stitch. And then up here, we worked a non-traditional spike stitch using a half double crochet. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it helped you in your crochet endeavors. Thanks for watching.